Welcome in, Draftstars crew. We're going into round 18 and we're going to kick things off with the Sharks and the Dragons for my picks here in the Draftstars. And plenty of different guys, very, very cheap, that all could do really well. And really, I think it's all in on the Sharks this week. Spoke about that the last time they played, and they actually scored most of their tries through the middle. Can they actually score on the outskirts this time? I think they definitely can. The middle for Dragons isn't as bad as their outside backs, and they're kind of meshing together at the moment. Moses Sully is out as well. So I think that they can score well on the outsides. And Ramian, is it his week? Is it time for Sione Katoa to come out and score well? Pick any of those guys. I think in the outside backs will work out well. And then obviously you want to be getting around Nico Hines in the halves position. 27,720 is pretty crazy though. So if you don't want to spend up on that, really, it's Jacob Little. You probably want to have a little, crack at, or potentially a Jaden Sullivan. But I think you just got to pick Hines and go cheap in the other sections. So let's just go straight to the floor here. And not a lot, to be honest with you. Maybe a Jack Williams if you're looking there. He got the 51 last time he played. Was 17 before that. So, Jackie, you might have to take a little bit of a punt on him, or Braden Hamlin-Uele to get another try like he did last week. You got Ben Murdoch-Masila as well, who is likely to get big minutes like he did last game there with 39. He's been sold along with Francis Mola, who I've been tipping each and every week. So the 13,000 mark all the way down to sort of the 10s is probably where you want to be looking at in that game to be able to get Nico Hines and go nuts with the with those outside backs there for sure. In the next one, we got South up against the Warriors. That's going to be a cracker game at 6 p.m. on Friday. The outside backs there, you've got Chance and Dallin, both been really dominant for the Warriors there. Rocco Berry's a sneaky one. He's had two good scores in and around a really low one at an 8 there where he got hurt. So he's definitely someone that should be on your radar for sure. You got Blake Taff averaging 35 there. It's okay last week at 24, but two good ones before that. So he's definitely, if you need someone, if you need someone cheap, he can be someone to plug that hole for sure. How's Campbell Graham going to go? I think he's probably a little bit too expensive. I'd probably stick to the anywhere from Chance down at this point, so that you can spend a bit of extra cash to get a Sean Johnson, who's averaging 84.5 at the moment. I think Damien Cook, a little bit cheaper this week, given he played lesser minutes last week. He'll be the next play on that list as well. Luke Metcalf averaging 50 at the moment as well, so 3 scores above 42 has been great for him. Really, I wouldn't look anywhere else at this point. Egan seems like he's a bit of a risk for a HIA, so Johnson, Cook, and Metcalf are your 3. Lockie Elias scored well last week also. We go to the forwards. Adam Fanua-Blake is the best guy on this list for bang for your buck, along with Cam Murray. So they're the 2. Josh Curran, a fair bit more expensive than you probably want him to be, given he's got the start now. A 40 plus should be there, but is he going to get that 50 odd, or is he going to be stuck in that 40s range? Similar to that of Jackson Ford there as well. Cheekham, if he actually starts, he should be in most people's teams at 10.5k. So just keep on to the late mail for that one. Now, I wouldn't be going any lower than that. So maybe a mixture of some of the more expensive guys going a little bit cheaper in the outside backs to be able to net you some good points in that one. We go to the outside backs for the next game here, which is Storm and Panthers. Another fun, really good game there. And I still think you should be going for the Sunya Taruva type there. We've been talking about him the last bunch of weeks, and 26 let us down a little bit last week, but Tyrone Peachy on his inside, it's hard for him to get some ball out there sometimes. But Sunya was a good one for the games before, and I think he's a good one again this week. Isaac Tungo's been really, really good, really, really consistent, so he's the second guy on the list, I think, in my opinion, is a good one. You got Will Warbrick and Xavier Coates, both scoring well of recent time there. Xavier with 45. Average his last 3 was scoring so bad before that. So he's in a bit of rich vein of form. So him or Warbrick as that sort of second or third guy in your team will work out well. Jack Coggar, just go all in on him each and every week at the moment. That is all you need to do in that section. Onto the forwards, and you're looking at really Isaiah Yeo is the top dog as always. Liam Martin, I think this is his week to really dominate. When he's been playing decent minutes, he's sort of around that 40 plus range, which at that price is very much an easy in. Christian Welch was great last week as well, so he could do that again for sure, but I suspect that the minutes dropped down a little bit. He got the 66 minutes or something last week, which was crazy, so avoiding him potentially, or if you think he can back it up, now he's got back into some form, would be good as well. James Fitzharris is back to a bit of form as well the last 2 weeks, 58 and a 52. They're the 3 or 4 guys I'd be looking at, along with obviously Nelson, but he's very expensive right now, so if you think he can do well again, awesome. Let's go to game number 4. So that's Titans up against the Raiders there. In the outside backs, Phil Sami's the most expensive guy. I really think you should be looking at Matt Tomoko, under 14k. Got a really good one last week of 44 when he was a little bit cheaper than he is now. So he's definitely the first guy on the list, in my opinion, you should be looking at. Seb Chris was better last week as well with his 36, but he was pretty low before that. So really it's tough to select here. It's Tomoko, it's Sammy, it's Kelly, it's Brimson. Mixture of those four, probably going to work out. And then Shop's the other one that's been pretty solid the last 3 weeks as well. So somewhere in those areas would work out well. In the halves and hookers, Tanner Boyd, I've been speaking about each and every week. He seemed to be a little bit off the ball the last 2 weeks, the last week. Good before that, and that's his lowest in a long time. So he definitely should bounce back. Jamal Fogarty, absolutely dominant at the moment. You got Whiten with a good one last week. So it's actually pretty tough to select in this position here. It could be a mixture between Whiten, and Tanner, or a Fogs if you can spare it. But you really want the big forward numbers here in this one with Corey Horsburgh up at 23,500 with Dave Fafita. I would grab Fafita just over Horse at this point. But yeah, some other better options. 5k cheaper. Mo Fodawaker. They're really going to do a good job. You'd imagine Salo, when he gets to start, he's been scoring great. So somewhere around that 30 plus mark, you should be able to expect for a 10k guy like him there. And I wouldn't be going anyone in this mid-range. So it's probably up top with Hors or Fafita, Fodawaker, and then probably Salo in that one there. Okay, let's go to the Cowboys up against the Tigers. That'll be a fun one to watch with Scotty Drinkwater leading the way in scoring and also his price. He's been amazing, basically, in the last month or so. So look at him in your squad if you do have the extra cash. But if you don't, someone like Peter Hiku actually is averaging really well. So he's got 3 scores above 40 in his last 4, and a 29's his lowest. He's under 10k, which is pretty crazy. Same with Murray Talangi. 2 really good weeks the last 2. He's at 9k. So there's definitely plenty of value down below. Semi Valame as well with the low price after his try scoring days a few weeks ago. Stafford Toa, a couple of lower weeks in the 30s, but he has 113 upside and he's at 11,500. So many options in the outside backs for that one. Really in this game, Tom Dearden has increased in price plenty. Chad Townsend in the last 3 weeks has been around that 40s mark, so he's at 15k now. He definitely has the 50 sort of upside there. So I think it's probably Chad Townsend there. Wakeham's been really solid as well, and you'll see Dane Laurie come into the halves. But Wakeham, Townsend, I think that's probably the play. Tom Dearden a bit up and down in his scoring, but can definitely do a good job for you like he did last week. Do we expect this to be a close game? I'm not sure. I think the Cowboys can get away with it. That's for sure. Shawnee Bloor, where's that man? 11,100. I think he's way too underpriced to get him in your side for this one. And no one really down below. I think Finafiyaki probably isn't going to get the minutes that he needs there. And then Lucy Leilua. So lock in Lucy Leilua, Jeremiah Nanai, and a Shawnee Bloor. And then obviously we know that Papali'i and Bateman can do it well up top, but they're the cheaper guys that you want to look at. Outside backs, Reece Walsh will be gone, so Tristan Saylor will be the guy to come in at 9k. He'll be a must-have for sure. I think Val Tafade at 10,800 as well. Sounds like UNA won't be in this side, and it'll be Hammer in the centres. So yeah, I think those are the 2 guys to look at, and then obviously a Nasako or a Farnworth are the next guys if you have that extra cash to be spending. Okay, if we're looking at the halves hookers, Adam Reynolds is the key. I don't really see anyone else being a big option there. So let's move on to the next section. Lock in Adam Reynolds there. Payne Haas, I'm expecting a massive one from him in this one. Lower minutes last week. This is the week to get on at 22k. I expect a 65, 70 plus from him. Ray Stone's getting up in price. Brendan Piakura up as well. So I would be looking a little bit lower. Guys like, if Willison does start, he'll be a good one to have. Josh Kerr last week, he only, he did alright, got the 32, so I'd expect somewhere around there again with the minutes that he got. There was a lot of game time there spent behind the post, so that was mainly in the first half, and it got a bit easy in the second half when he played more minutes. So that's that. Herman Esse, a solid score last week of 31. Again, under the circumstances, just be aware that the Dolphins did get beat up pretty bad, especially in that first half when he was on the park. So just be aware of that one. But yeah, Piakura, Solomon obviously did alright last week, the 34. It's nothing crazy at 13k, so Payne Haas up top and then go from there with the cheaper guys. Let's go to the next team, Knights. Come up against the Dogs, and yeah, plenty of guys I think you should be selecting, and the majority of them are in the Knights side. So Mazu, Ponga, Dom Young, I think they could all do really, really good along with Bradman Best. Best is probably a little bit too cheap in my opinion at 10,700, and he could have a really, really good game here. And then if you're looking at the dogs, it would be Jacob Carraz after that week off. I think it's going to help him out. But Ponga, after the bad one last week, I think he's going to have a big bounce back. 69.75 the two before that. And Marzu as well, averaging 62 before that. He got 50 last week in a well-beaten side. So he's the consistent guy. Ponga's going to be the up and down superstar. Someone you do need to look at here is Khaled Rajab. For some reason he's at 12k just because he's starting. I don't really like that, but he's definitely someone of note. Phoenix Crossland's there as well, pretty consistently a 40s guy there. Burton, Hastings, the two guys you want to look at up top. Burton obviously the one dominating the most at the moment, and is the most likely guy to be able to score super well in this game, especially in the halves position. And then you've got the forwards there. You want to look down below to start off things. Fitzgibbon is back. I'm not really looking at him too much. Curtis Morin I think is going to be a fun one. 12.6 is not too expensive. And then lower from there's no Dylan Lucas anymore, unfortunately. I wouldn't be going for anyone below that level. I think Harrison Edwards will be okay. Raymond could come back into the side, but we're not going to look at him. And then Adam Elliott's way too expensive for the amount of missed tackles he has, and it's Preston or Frizzell. You can pick one of them. In that one, we move to the last game, guys. So if you haven't signed up for Draftstars yet, hit that link in the description. That'll let them know that you're here. You're there on Draftstars because of me. That'll be awesome. In the outside backs in this Roosters game, up against the beautiful Manly boys there. Ruben Garrick is the guy at 14.9. Must have, I think. He's going to be a 50-plus scorer each and every week for your team. That's without any attacking stats, just a couple of goals and heaps of tackle breaks and runs there and run meters. So he's the guy to own. Manu and Tedesco. Tedesco was really bad last week, but likely you're going to have one of them in your side. And we know that Suoli'i plays a lot better, scores a lot better anyway on the wing in fantasy. Moving to the halves hookers, Turpin, slightly worried on him just because of the rib issue. So I think it's Sandon Smith or it's Daly Cherry Evans. So Sandon at 14k now, played really good last week, got 51. Played great the one before, got 48. So Sandon, Cherry Evans, lock either one of them in your side. If you have the cash, get DCE. If you don't, get Sandon. You'll be able to do a solid job. And the last one here, the forwards. You're looking at Lindsay Collins playing really, really good footy at the moment. Olakau'atu really improved his score at the back end there. So there are a couple of guys you want to look at up top. Jake Trbojevic is back, but how ready is he going to play the full 80? There's a few question marks there. For the Roosters, there's a bunch of different changes that could come. That's for sure. On game day with Nuffle White. He's at 13.4. Bit of an awkward price. I don't really like any of those options. Brown, White, Hargraves might be the better play given he is going to play his normal role. He might have to play a couple extra minutes. He's been good in the 40s of recent times. So there's not much else to say really in this game and in this forward sections. Sipley's solid as well. So maybe they're the kind of areas you're looking at before when you're making your decisions here for this game. I wish you all the best of luck for your Draft Stars picks on the weekend. We have a full slate, everyone but the Eels, and good luck in round 18.